and the PCB fan at the back there. I've already changed this about a couple of weeks ago, so the air assist pump, I'll take it off and show you how to do it, but I'm going to literally take everything off, give it a really good clean. And this is the pack of 3 fans that you get from Emblaser. I'm going to replace all them, and the tools that I'm going to use, just a Phillips screwdriver, a couple of hexagon, small little, that's just really for prizing, your little cleaner, and just a couple of brushes. I have a quick release on my exhaust, which I'll show you in another fan. I have that put in so that it's exactly at the right measurement there, and then it pulls off real quick. Alrighty, well, I'll start taking things apart and I'll show you as I go. Okay, time to do a service on the old Laser 2, Emblaser 2. So as you can see, it's really smoked up, everything's blocked, so we're going to change the exhaust fan at the back there. We're going to change the laser fan. Okay, we're going to start off taking the air assist off. With the version 3 pump, you've just got 2 little screws there that have got to come out. If you've got air assist 2, you'll have to take out this screw right there. I don't know if you can see it right there. There's a little nut underneath. But with the version 3, they've done away with that one and added an extra screw in here. So version 2 would be this screw and that move my hand, that screw and that screw, and version 2 is now both these screws. So I'll go ahead and take that off. Literally, if you undo them, it just all drops down. Okay, you can see it's just dropped down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the air hose off at the back there. That's the main hose that goes all the way along to your air head, and then this one just pulls out. It just tucks in the valve at the back there. Flick that over, and then you just want to pull this one off here. There you go. That's now completely free, so I can give that a clean. But that's the version 3. Now we're going to take out the screws on the back there. We've got one here, one here, one just under the back there, and another 2 right there. Them 5 little screws is going to release this back cover, and then we can get to the exhaust fan. So I'm going to go ahead and drop those off. Okay, so I've undone all 5 little screws there, and then we pop around the back. You'll see the back has just came off, just drops down. We can pull that away. So this is your exhaust fan. You can see how sorted up that is, and your circuit board all looks pretty good. Going to give this a really good clean. You can see what I was saying there with the exhaust. I have the little pipe cut off so it fits exactly in there. What I've seen a lot of people do is they feed that exhaust hose all the way back so it touches on here, and then they wonder why they get like the smell of smoke all the time in the machine. They've actually pushed it too far in here, all the way up to here. So the way that I've done that with a quick release, and it guarantees that it's not too, in there on there wrong. Now your fan here is this little lead, goes all the way down to this one here. This is where I just use the little screwdriver. It's kind of hard to hold it, but basically I use the little screwdriver just to give that a little gentle push up, which I'm going to do right now. So I'm just going to give that a little pry up. There we go. That one's out. Just pull that through. And then this has just got a sticky tab on the back, so you can literally just pull that off. It's actually left the label behind. That's in a real bad shape. Pull the label off. You can see there's a little sticky tab that holds it on there. Now I'm just going to get my brush and a little vacuum, and I'm going to give this a real rub down and clean. So I'll do that and then I'll show you the result. Okay, you can see we've got it all cleaned up. This other one here, that is actually your lead if you want to change the wire that comes through here to your air assist pump. That's the one that plugged in right here. So that goes all the way through there, and you can just pull that through right to here. You can just pull that off, pull that all the way through and replace it. The new air pump does come with a new lead, but there's no real need to do it unless you've got electrical problems. This is a little bit flexible, but just be careful because you've got a very delicate connector right there. You don't want to be pulling it out unnecessarily. But that is your white ribbon, and you can also replace that, which isn't actually that hard. That just goes all the way around there, and inside there I'll show you the other end of that. I actually will pull that off and replace that. But I'm not going to touch the ribbon, it's working fine. I'll just give it a wipe down. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the new exhaust fan in there, connect it back up, and that'll be ready to go back together. So we're ready to go with the new fan. There's a little tab that needs pulling off. You just pull that little blue tab off, and then that's just going to literally pushes back into place. Make sure you line it up with this little section right there. Line it all up, just push it in, and then we're going to reconnect this wire, feed it under, and then that'll just reconnect right into this little block right there. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you. Okay, so we've gone ahead and fitted that. There is a little notch right here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little notch cut out right there where that wire actually folds over, and that's to stop that nicking when it goes back on. Just make sure the wire is folded on that little cut out there. Goes around, just tuck it back under, and then push your block connector in. Okay, so we're done at the back here. I'm going to leave that off at the moment because I'm going to do some cleaning on the inside, but that's all ready to go back on. Okay, as I said, there's the wire for the air assist. That was that other little terminal. Right now we're going to leave all that off so I can clean all along the back there, but right now we're going to do the fans on here. And the first thing on the laser head is there's two screws to take out, one right there and the other one at the bottom just down there. Take them two off, and then the cover just will come right off. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so we took the two screws off, and now you can just pull this cover, wiggle it back until it's free. Go ahead and take your air assist nozzle, take that off. I'm going to give that a clean or put a new one on there. So we're going to pull this right back, and if I'm just cleaning this, normally I don't take this off, but right now I'm going to take this ribbon connector off, but you don't have to. I just want to give it a really good clean. As you can see, it's really bad. So I'll tell you what, first off we're going to take the laser head fan off. It's just the four bolts right here, and then it lifts right off, and you've got this little one here. It goes right into there. It's really hard to see with all the dirt on it, but I'm just going to use my little driver, a little yellow screwdriver, just to go ahead and prise that one out and take these bolts out. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, I took all the screws off and pulled it out. Just take a note that your cable is this way, and also when you put the replacement fan on, the label is actually underneath. So you took the four bolts out, pulled the little connector out. You can just lift that straight off. There is a little gasket that sits between the head and the fan. I'm going to take that off as well so I can clean that. Alrighty, and now I'm going to take off the PCB fan just at the back here. This little PCB fan. Exactly the same process of taking the laser fan off, there's 4 little screws and another little connector block that goes right here that I'm just going to pry off. Take that off. Right, so I'll take that off next. Okay, again you can see I've taken the fan off. Just make sure you take note that your little wire is pointing upwards from that side, and again the label does go face down on that one. Right, so both the fans are off, the gasket's off. Now I'm actually going to free the ribbon up. Okay, I'll do this very carefully. So this little block here just slides back. Okay, because of all the dirt it's a little bit stiff, but if you come on this side, this is like a little ribbon here that you can just pull out. Okay, I'm going to have to put the camera down to do this, but first off I'm going to pull this. It's just like a rigid bit that holds it in place so it doesn't pull itself out. It's just hooked in like a little L shape like that. It's just hooked in, so I'm going to pull that out first. Okay, so that's a little bit that I meant. It just literally pulls out that joint there. It's like it tucks right back in underneath itself. It's flexible so you can pull it, so you just pull that out of the way, and then we can slide this block up, and there out comes the ribbon. You've got to be very careful on these little teeth here. Oh, these little teeth on, oh wow, they're dirty. That little teeth there, you don't want to damage any of them. Right, now it's time to give it a really good clean. I'm going to use my little brush, and I'm pretty hardcore with it. It's not really a lot of damage you can do, but I'm really going to give it a good scrub up and down. You can do that. I've also got another little brush with a stiffer head. So I'm going to go and clean that completely up now, and I'll show you in a second. Forgot to say, it's time to also take off the lens, get that out of the way. So just going to unscrew that. Okay, and I'm just going to put that somewhere safe. Okay, now time to clean. Okay, another little clean you can do is with your little brush that comes with your kit, is clean down all the fans, all the vents to your laser head. Just go up and down, it just drops straight out the bottom there. Okay, so I've wiped it all down, cleaned all the vents there, wiped all the back down. A couple of little things you want to watch for when you're wiping it down is there's a little block here. Where are we? This little block here with a little lever on it. You can hear it makes a little click. Watch you don't catch it with your brush and bend it up. It is pretty flexible. If you do bend it, you can bend it back into shape, but just really want to watch that. And there's another one just down here, which is part of your heat sensor, smoke detector or something. Alright, but the rest of it's pretty hardy. But they're the two little things you don't want to bend. Okay, so I've cleaned it all down. Ready to put the fans on, but I'm not going to put the fans on yet. I'm going to clean the rest of the machine. Wiped it down, cleaned all the vents. Yep, looking a lot better already. Next I'm just going to wipe all the white ribbon cable. Very gently. I'm just going to get my cloth and just gently go along it, holding each little bit as I wipe it. Don't need to be very strong with it, but just going to give it a good clean up. Okay, you can see we've cleaned all that up. Gently wiped all the end, cleaned all the casing, and just gently wiped all the ribbon. It's come up pretty good. Just cleaned it all up. Alright, and the reason I haven't put any of the fans back on or anything is there's still a lot of dust in there and a lot of grime, so it's got to be cleaned off and the brush used. So I'll wait till everything's clean and then I'll put it all back together. But alright, so now I'm just going to start in the corners here with the brush. Going to clean all these joints for the cable runners. clean all that down. I'm going to clean all this frame up and work my way around. Slowly working my way around. Just cleaned all this little block here. Gonna do that side next. Just all I do is with a cloth get it as best as I can and working my way slowly around. Okay, well I've now cleaned it all and cleaned all around the runners, all around here, wiped the lid. I'm going to do that with some Kleenex as well, but literally cleaned all the way around, scrubbed it. I had to use a bit of a scourer as well, but it's looking pretty good. And I just give the pump a little bit of a wipe because that is a new one from about 3 weeks ago, so that shouldn't need replacing. The good thing is with this version 3 pump is that fan is exactly the same fan that fits on top of the laser head, so if you need to replace it, it should be the same as this one, which is kind of handy. I think they've done that on purpose. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead now and first thing, I'm going to just do it in reverse. First thing I'm going to do is put the PCB fan back on. So got me new one, 4 bolts, just going to sit that on there. One thing is with the PCB fan is you just want to do it finger tight. You'll notice that there isn't a lot of thread on there and you can over tighten it very easily, so just do it finger tight. And it does kind of like the little spaces that it sits on, they do wobble about quite a bit, and sometimes as you tighten the bolt you have to put your finger on the back just to hold them, so don't be afraid of that. Anyway, I'll put that back on and then I'll show you and I'll get like the, see if I can swap around here. Cable's going to go in this first little lower box, this little lower section right here. So the top one is the laser fan and the bottom one is the PCB fan thing in there. And these little things here, just make sure you can hear a little clicking when you press them. You know they're working. There's one down here as well. Yep, both working. Okay, so I'll put the PCB fan back on and then I'll show you each step. Okay, as you see, just put these in and you hold that little nut at the back there and just do it so it's finger tight. I just hold that while I tighten it up. I don't do it no more than finger tight. Okay, as you see, just put these in and you hold that little nut at the back there and just do it so it's finger tight. I just hold that while I tighten it up. I don't do it no more than finger tight. And then putting the little wire on, just kind of bend it into shape along there, and then little block facing there at the bottom. Clicks into place. Very simple. Okay. Perfect. Now we'll put the laser fan back on. First thing to do is put the little flange back on. Make sure the cap goes to the back. I don't think it really matters which way it goes up, it looks the same. Actually that does look a bit smoother on that side. There's a bit of a ridge on that way, so I'm gonna put it that way. Just sit it on top and then we can get the new fan. Again, it's going to go that way down, and then I get the 4 bolts, or not bolts, little screws, and I just drop them in there. Can't do it while holding the camera, but anyway, I'll just drop those in. Okay, so I've tightened all the little screws up and put my cable back in just at the top there and kind of fold it down so it follows these other cables here. You'll see when you slide the hood back on that it's got to be down and out of the way, kind of around there. And this little spacer here stops everything from hitting in there. Okay, well now we're just going to put the ribbon back in. Going to tuck that in first and then slot that in. Okay, going to put the ribbon in. Put my glasses on. Okay, it's a little bit tricky, especially when you're holding the camera. But so basically that is going to tuck in that little slot. No, it's not really showing you very well. Okay, just take that around there. It's very difficult to lean over it and film at the same time, but right at the back here, you'll see this little slot there is where that part of the ribbon, let's do it downwards. So this part of the ribbon I'm holding is going to go in that slot right there. And then the ribbon will go in this little joint right here. You can just see the little connector in there. I'm going to gently push it in. Okay, we'll do that now. I won't be able to hold it and do it, but anyway, you'll get what I mean. I'm going to put that in there and then I'll show you after. Okay, well, I push the ribbon in and this little black spacer slides over the top of the ribbon to hold it firmly in place. Then the flexi bit can be pushed in. That's kind of like to keep that from pulling out. So the spacer protects it and holds it in, stops it falling, and then this flexi bit is also to stop it pulling out. Okay, you can just see that. But I put the teeth of the ribbon in first, and now I'm going to do the flexi bit. Okay, so that's all in. Flexi bit's in, ribbon's in, and now we're going to slide the hood back into place. You kind of see where it goes via the screw line up. The most important part is your cables are all tucked on the side bit here. That space, actually this spacer needs to be in there so it doesn't get hooked up. Don't force it, you'll feel it go on pretty easily. So it's like as I get stuck. Yeah, I know I'm in position because the screw down here is lined up. It just really needs to be wiggled on until this little slot here actually goes on your frame. So I'm going to put this down and just slide that on. So you don't have to force it, but just wiggle it on until it finally goes into place. Then just put your screws in, tighten them up. You've got one there, and then one at the bottom down here. And you can see here. Actually, that little spacer, I think, is meant to be inside there. Yeah, that little spacer is not meant to be there. It's meant to be further in, and you can see this little clicker has got jammed under it. So I'm going to have to take that off and redo that. Okay, cover's back on. I actually got it wrong. I was bringing the cables from down here, and as you can see, it comes out this little part of the hood right there. They tidally all come together like that, and the cables are nowhere near the little... It's not clicking. Yes, it is. There you go. Just make sure that's clicking free. Yeah, so all the wires go tidally in this little area here. Screw at the bottom, screw at the top here, and that little slot should sit firmly in there. Okay, that's that done. We're going to go ahead and put the back on. So literally it's just lining this back up, just pushing it up, wiggling the screw through on the other side. I normally start with the one in the middle here. Hold it in place. I never tighten it right up until I've got all 5 in, and then I tighten it up once it's all in place. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. It's a little bit tricky, but it's pretty easy. Right, I put all the 5 screws back in, so that's all tightly secured at the back there. Pretty easy. And now we go put the air assist pump back on using these 2 screws here. So First thing you need to do is put your cable back on. It just pushes on here. Stick your little hose through the back there, just slots in there, any gap you can find, and then just push this hose back on your main thing, and then that's your air pump ready to go on. Okay, air assist is back on, 2 screws are back on, pump rubber is back on, and don't forget, if you've got the version Air Assist 2, you'll be putting this screw in here and a little screw and nut right in there under that little bit there, which is a real fiddly. I hate doing that one. I'm actually glad they've done it like this with the 2 here. It's so much quicker and easier, and I like the fan being easier to change as well. Right, so everything's back together. I've got my lens I'm going to clean and put back on, and then I'm going to put some grease on all the runners. I'll show you what I'm doing right there, but I'm just going to clean my lens and pop that back on. I'm just going to do the lid with some glass cleaner, put the lens, clean the lens, put the lens back on and put the lens hood back on, and then got some of this little grease tube that comes with your kit, and basically what we're going to do is put some grease here on these ones, and I put a little smear on the rubber drive belts in each corner as well. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you. If you're wondering how much you put on, I put about that size on, about half a pea, and just literally I just rub it up and down one area like that. There, once it gets on your fingers, this I've already put some on this one, but I'll just give it a wipe so you can see. So like smeared it on there, and then what I do is I just move this so the runner gets on it, move it backwards and forwards, same with this one, run it, and then I just, with what's on my fingers already, going to run it on there, on this one here. I don't know if you can see that one, just going to smear that as well, and I'll do the same on the other side. Okay, that's all done, and I've run it backwards and forwards. You can hear the difference, there's no grubbing at all. And the other thing I do, this is by choice, it's my choice, because these little buttons always stick, and I've given them a clean, but I always put just a little tiny bit on top of each one, and then I work it in, and it just helps it not sticking. Now because it's grease, it could attract dirt or dust and make it stick more, but it's something I prefer to do. It's down to you whether you do it or not, but that's a problem I have with these sticking down, and then I use a weight to keep my lid down, because that's your contacts to be able to turn your laser light on. Alrighty, last job, clean the glass. Bit of glass cleaner. I'm just going to wipe both sides of the lid and give it a last minute clean up, and then it should be done. Okay, that's my full service done. And then also one of the things I do is I keep a service sheet stuck to the front cover as I've got all my machines, and then as I replace parts, new mats, fans, calibrate, I write it down on there, and then I can look to see how long things are lasting. I'm getting about 2 months out of a pump and a fan, so about every 2 months I'll do exactly what I've just done, and that's because my machines are running 10-12 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week, so they're working hard. As you can see, it's looking absolutely brilliant now. Everything's been replaced, everything's clean. I'll show you in another video my quick release that I do on there, but for right now this is just all about the service and replacing the parts. Lid's nice and clean, so I can now see through it better, and inside it's looking more like a new machine instead of that black soot everywhere. The fans are looking great, all greased up, everything's replaced back. Yep, now all we've got to do is plug her in, and fingers crossed, touch wood, sure will be good. Okay, well, I hope that helped. I'll be doing lots more videos on each little thing. I'll show you the comparison of the different air pumps, also the difference of changing the lens. There's a difference on those, which I never realised. I bought an older machine. I regret that now, but anyway. Okay, over and out. So I thought I'd quickly show you the quick release that I've done. Basically, it's a 50mm reducer, so one end actually pushes inside the hose and the other end slots inside this elbow, and then just pull that out, and then that just pushes, literally just pushes on, and it goes over the actual black plastic surround of their thing, and that is on there pretty solid. So that's a quick release, saves you having to unwind this hose all the time. I find that a real pain, but yeah, so I'll show you a little more in detail at a later stage. But yeah, they're coming really handy with all my machines, because I've got them all joined together and vented. Got another vent in here. This is my my laser room. I've built a tent. I've got lots of extraction in here. I've got a gluing room as well, so but all my extractors go out there. So I've got all of them filtered all together and all lead out the back there. So okay, I'll end the video now.